So I am back with a new video today. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the new MAC palettes, which I don't know when exactly they came out, but it's pretty recent. Previously the MAC palettes used to have, you know, a black face, and they had, you know, specific dividers for each eyeshadow that you would put in. But now they are just regular empty cases, and you can just put whatever you want. So you could put blushes, you could put eyeshadows, different size things will fit inside. So it's a lot like the Z palette. So I bought this Z palette at the makeup show in Orlando a few weeks ago, and I love it. But the thing was, I filled it up really fast. And I only bought one, and I believe I didn't pay retail for this, so I think I paid something between like $12 and $15 for it, and I believe they retail for $20 or $22 or something like that. I'll put the price right here. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly how much the large palette costs, but I know it's somewhere in the 20s. The MAC palette is $18. So I figured, since I just purchased the Z palette, filled it up, and then was playing around on YouTube and found someone who was talking about their new MAC palette, and I was really excited because I was just like, wow, I just, you know, bought the Z palette, I filled it up, I still need space, and now I don't have to, you know, order anything online. I can just go to the MAC store and buy it. Now, I said that, but then I still ordered it online, and the reason I ordered it online was because, one, I wasn't in a huge hurry to get it, and two, because MAC is offering free shipping on all purchases. There's no minimum purchase required until the end of the year, so December 31st is the last day. So I paid $18 flat and bought it, and that was that. So that was great. The Z palettes, the only thing, you know, if I just don't like having to pay shipping very often, and so this is going to be like $20-something plus shipping, because I don't know of anywhere I can actually buy it in person. But it's still a really, really good palette, and it filled a void for quite some time. Just now MAC has come out and given them some competition, I suppose. If you wanted to see the differences, this is the MAC palette. This is the first noticeable difference. I'm going to put them back to back. And here's the Z palette. So the large Z palette and the large MAC palette are quite different. The Z palette is definitely larger. You might be able to fit maybe an extra row of eyeshadows in there if you needed to. So it's longer, it's a little bit taller, it's a little bit wider, so it's a little bigger. The MAC palette, they both have the magnetic close, so they stay closed, which is really nice. And they both have the clear top, so you can see exactly what's inside your palette. The Z palette is cardboard, while the MAC palette is a harder plastic, so that's nice. I think it makes it a little bit sturdier. Another difference that you'll notice if you have both of them is that the MAC palette is deeper as well. So if you, for example, buy a something you want to put in it that's domed, it'll probably fit a lot better in the MAC palette because it's deeper. So, you know, if you try to put it in the Z palette, which is a little more shallow, it might be, you know, the dome might be too tall and you might not be able to close the lid. So that's one of the most noticeable differences between them, is the actual size and the depth of each palette. And of course, then there's the price. So there's a price difference, and one's plastic and one's cardboard. Another thing that I noticed with the MAC palette that I didn't notice until I started depotting items to put it in. When you buy a MAC eyeshadow that's already depotted, it comes with a little magnet in the back so that it'll fit into the palette, you know, easily and stay put. When you depot them, they won't have that magnet in the back. Now the Z palette, the same thing happens with the Z. So when you try to put it in the palette, it's not going to stay. There's nothing going to be kind of grabbing onto the magnetic back. Now when you buy a Z palette, it comes with these little like pieces of metal in it, and then you basically stick that little metal piece to the back of the depotted item and put it in the Z palette, and it'll stick because the magnet will attract it. But what I noticed was the magnet does not work, or that little piece of metal does not work inside of the MAC palette. So if you're going to depot your own MAC shadows or any other eyeshadow or blush or whatever it is you're going to depot, you're going to have to go to Michael's or any craft store and buy some magnets to put in the back so that it'll actually work inside of the MAC palette. So that's one thing that I noticed that I thought was nice about the Z palette, was that it does bring the little metal pieces that have like a little piece of paper on the back, and you can, you know, write what the name of the shadow or the blush or whatever it is you're putting in there is, so you know what it is, and then it'll just go right into the Z palette. You actually have to take a little bit of an extra step with the MAC palette and go buy magnets for it, unless you buy the already depotted eyeshadows and other pieces from MAC, in which case it'll be ready to go into their palette. So those are the main differences. I don't know which one I prefer over the other one. I like them both. The Z palette is, because it's shallower, it's a little thinner, it's a little bit bigger. It comes in multiple colors, so that's nice, and different designs, so you can kind of pick different designs and colors according to what suits you and your preferences. MAC just comes in black, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with black. Black is, you know, sleek, and it's nice, and it's sturdy. They're both sturdy. They're both very nice. They're close in price, so that's nice. I think the main driver that would make me buy a MAC palette more often than a Z palette is that I do have a freestanding MAC store nearby, and that's the only place where you can get it. You can buy it online, or you can buy it at the freestanding MAC stores. Just the ones that are just only MAC, that are not inside of Dillard's or Macy's. No, they don't have them at Macy's. But they're not inside of Dillard's or Nordstrom or Neiman Marcus or Saks or whatever other stores have MAC kiosks inside. They don't sell them there. So if you don't have one, then you'd still have to order online. And if you're interested in getting them, then now's a good time to order them online, because you'd get free shipping. But other than that, I really don't have a preference. I think they're both really great and useful. It depends on what you find important, on whether or not you would pick one over the other. The MAC palette would be more convenient at this point for me, but if I went to another makeup show or eye match or something along those lines and I saw a Z palette, I wouldn't be like, oh no, I'm not gonna get it because it's not a MAC palette. I'd still buy it, especially because at those trade shows they're a reduced price, so then it makes it quite comparable, and sometimes even less, to buy the Z palette over the MAC palette. But otherwise, I think they're both great. So depending on what you're going to use it for, if you're going to put domed items inside the palette, the MAC palette will probably suit you better. If you prefer it to be a little bit larger, maybe the Z palette would be better for you. If you like to cut, if you like the customization part where it's different colors and designs, then maybe the Z palette would be better for you. I have 9 eyeshadows in here right now, and as you can see, this one down here does not have a magnet on the back, and that's why it keeps slipping. I have 9 in here right now, and it looks like you could easily fit another 9 more, so maybe 18 eyeshadows or so would fit inside of this palette easily and comfortably. Not sure how much would fit if you decide to do blushes or something, or bronzer or contour or anything else, which are bigger pans. Both palettes come in different sizes. So these two are the large palettes. MAC also has a smaller palette that fits just 2 eyeshadows, and it looks like this. So it, again, has the same, it's basically the same thing, it just fits 2. And they also have one that would fit 4, so it's a square. And those are varying prices. I don't know the prices off the top of my head, so I'll just put them in the information bar down below. And then same with the Z palette. The Z palette has I know they have a square one, and I think they have a medium size one, and then the large one. And again, I will put all the information on that down below so that you can see the different prices and sizes. Alright, so we finally reached the end of the video, and I know you guys are just dying to find out what I'm going to give away this week during holiday giveaway madness. Today I have another Stila eyeshadow trio, and this one is called Gilded. It's gorgeous. It has a beautiful golden eyeshadow, a matte dark brown eyeshadow, and a really pretty bronzed gold eyeshadow. It's absolutely beautiful, and I'm sure it'll make some great looks for the holidays. So that's one of the prizes you get to win. And then the other is my absolute favorite eyeshadow brush, which is the best dupe I've come across for the MAC 217. And I've written about it on my blog, and I'll put the links to those posts down below so that you can see them. I have tons of these. I love this brush, and that is the Coastal Scent Pro Fluff brush. And it basically looks and feels and works exactly the same way as the MAC 217. So that's what I will be giving away this week to one lucky winner, and I'll put all of the instructions, all the rules, and what you have to do to enter down below. So make sure that you read the information box for all of the details. Hopefully you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye! Hi! So it's December, and I have been way behind on showing you guys my Julep Maven box.